Good evening, everyone. It's that day again. It's a Tuesday. It's the day of the testimony. We are going to be speaking live with Ukal from PE, where he'll be talking about mental illness and a recovery of anxiety and depression. He has a very interesting story that he will touch on. So we are looking forward to talking to Ukal. We are live on Facebook. We are live on YouTube. We're live on our radio as well. So let's engage with Ukal. Let's hear what his story is about. Let's talk to him and hear what he has to say because he's a man with a testimony. He's a man with a vision. He owns a couple of businesses. He has a group of his own. He's got a few things that he's been doing, including mentoring the business. SMMEs in East London with NYDA and ECTC, including touching base with CEDA. So he's done a lot. He's done a lot for a man of his age. So let's hear what he has to say. Hi, Carl.
Hi, Olwethu, how are you?
I'm good. Welcome to Kith and Guessy Radio.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. It's always a pleasure.
You can tell us your testimony. Let's hear your story because it's an interesting story. So I'm giving you the platform. The listeners will just listen,
Yeah.
and I'll just fold my hands and listen.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, listeners on all platforms. Like Olwethu was saying, my name is Carl Little. I'm the founder of Kasi Group and also the Kasi Township Hub. So we basically create an end-to-end solution for SMEs and businesses, but that's not the reason why I'm really here. So I just want to touch base and just basically share a little bit of my story, and what I've been through and how I've overcome some of the deepest and darkest times within my life. So
Yes.
I'm, like I said, Carl Little, born on the Cape Flats, Cape Town. Then at a young age moved to PE. But the real reason why I'm here is just to encourage some people, especially men. I'm a survivor. I've been struggling with depression for about 14 years. And in that 14 years, I've attempted to commit suicide unsuccessfully 3 times, and I'm so grateful that I'm still here to basically tell the story.
Mm.
Um, so, so for myself, what we've done is that I've started a movement where it's called All Things Mental, and that's also the Facebook group that we have, and it's basically here to address issues, especially with men. There's a saying that people say that cowboys don't cry, men don't cry, and in our society,
Mm.
especially in, if I can call it, in our black community, black encompassing everyone, that when men speaks out about depression or what we go through, we are seen as weak.
Yes.
We seen as less than a man. So for myself, I took it upon myself to basically speak out. I've suffered from depression. Like I said, tried to commit suicide 3 times. The very first time, and to give you a little bit of back end of it, I'm the type of person, and so many people has reached out to me because people are saying, "But you always smiling, Cole. You're always that funny guy, you always make us laugh and all of that." And meanwhile, back at the ranch, nobody knew what we are going through. And for me, it's amazing that my depression and where it started, actually, I'm a community leader, community builder. I've been very active in church, and I've got this analogy. People used to come to me, parents used to come and complain about their kids to me, and I had to give them advice. So I became like a garbage disposal unit for people's thoughts and feelings. People used to come and dump everything upon me, and and I had nowhere to basically, I had no one to speak to. So I was in church, worship leader, youth leader, and then things just took a bit of a bit of a downhill. Coming from church, and I was walking home, and I had all these thoughts, everything pressing. I felt so heavy, and I just felt there's no way out. And I then decided that I'm going to walk into oncoming traffic, and I was judging the car, and I was walking towards the car, and I was actually going to just throw myself in front of the car, because all I wanted to do was I just wanted to end my life, because I
Mm.
felt that there was no one really listening to me. I was listening to people, but nobody actually took the time to listen to me, even in church. They were just like, "No, you're strong, just go pray, pray for healing. God will
Mm.
listen to you." And at that time, all I needed was, I needed an ear. And I couldn't find it anywhere. So I decided, the best thing for me is to end my life. And at that time, as I was about to throw myself in front of the car actually um, decided to brake and swerve away. And I got, and in that moment, I like thought to myself, "My God, what are you doing?" And I had to basically pull myself towards myself, and but I still had nobody to talk to, so I had to basically counsel myself, tell myself, "Carl, you're better than that, go back to the scriptures, affirm myself." But I still had nowhere to dump. I was just receiving all these things from other people. So from that first experience, what happened was is that um, you know through studying the word, and through basically doing self introspection, I basically got myself out of that rut. But I never then dealt with what I was feeling,
What's going
because
through?
I had to be strong for my youth. I had to be strong for other people. So I basically just parked my feelings, parked my emotions, and I had to shape up, and I had to be strong. I had to be this youth leader. I had to be this astute person that everybody want to be like in church. So that was like the first attempt. And when I tried to speak to people, people would say, "Carl, but you're better than that.
Hmm.
Why do you want to kill yourself? You're better than that." And at that time, that's not what I wanted to hear. I just needed somebody to say, "Listen, Carl, I'm here to
Yes.
listen." I just
Yeah, they
needed
cry
somebody
for
to say,
help.
"I'm here to listen." But yeah, but nobody wanted. You better than that, Carl. Come on. You know the word. You should be able to know. And they would give me all these stories, and I would just say yes, yes, yes. I would go on with my life. And that was when I was like at the young age of 22, 23. So it started very. So I mean, um, I'm not a young man no more, because
Hmm.
so then, if you're looking at it, my second attempt was where I basically got home one day from work. I got so depressed in my work environment, because once again I gave, and you know what, everything I did wasn't acknowledged. I trained people for, imagine training people, and then they become your bosses. You have to report to them, but you uplifted them. So I just thought to myself, this can't go on. I give, but I get basically no acknowledgement. And sometimes that's all you need. You just need that affirmation. You just need
Yes.
somebody to say, "Well done," and I never got that. And then obviously what happened was also some of my church issues, relationship issues, family issues, and it all just, then my world all just came crumbling down. I worked for a medical aid company at that time, and then so I knew where to get tablets from without
Yeah.
it being noticed, that I'm actually going to do
Yes.
what I'm going. And also because coming from my whole family was basically, we grew up in hospitals, with my mother being nurses and all of that. I myself worked in pharmacy as well, at a hospital as well, so I knew where to go to and what kind of tablets to get, without them basically acknowledging that, listen, this guy is going to attempt to do this. um, I then had I then took about about 200 tablets. And but before I did, while I was busy doing that, I actually phoned a good friend, which was a sister, became a sister because I stayed there by then. And she was the only one that I could actually reach out to. And she was the only one that I felt worthy of that time where I could say goodbye to, and I felt,
Mm.
how can I say, I owe it to her at least to give her a call to say that, listen, thank you, I love you, but I cannot take this no more. And I
Mhm.
think that was the call that actually saved my life, because after putting down the phone, I took the last bunch of tablets and I then just went to sleep. Right? Apparently, she said she phoned the parents. They tramped the door down. They rushed me to the hospital. Um, I woke up in hospital with drips and everything in there. They pumped all the tablets out of
Ye-
me, and all of those things, and I survived. And you know what, Olwethu, all of these things happened while I was in church. While
Yes,
I was a leader in church.
doing
So
everything.
sorry.
You were doing everything. You were a leader. You were
Yes, I
basically
was I
still.
was doing the most. Yeah, so there's so much pressure on you, because also we, like, sometimes, the pressure that you're under as a leader, because people look up to you and all of those things. You they just feel that, you're almost like a mini Jesus. You're supposed to
Mm.
be there for everyone. And sometimes all we need is just an ear. So that was like the second time, and I came out of there. I had to see a psychologist, and you know, I blamed everyone. I blamed my family. I blamed the way I got raised. I blame my mother for abandoning me when I was young. I just piled up the blame to everyone. And at the end of the day, I thought to myself, when I sat in my room, and I went to a government hospital at that time, and it was the scariest thing of my life. The night, and I was like, you have to shape up. You have to, you cannot blame everybody. You have to take some sort of responsibility as well. And that was a wake up call for me, in terms of, listen, you cannot blame everybody. Yes, we know that these were the circumstances that led you to do this, but at the end of the day, you still did it. You had a choice.
Yes.
I had to speak hard to myself. And then, so even then, started talking to, people were like, when they heard what happened, oh Carl, we are so sorry, we will listen to you. And it was all just to get me. They were basically sugarcoating me, and basically, you know I always call it putting jam over your lips so it can taste nice, just to get me back. Get me
Mm.
back so that I can be the Carl which they want to be there. When I'm sad, when I feel down, they ask me, this is not you, Carl. I said, do you even know me? Do you even know who I am? Why can you tell me this is not me? Okay. So that was like the second time. And then the third time was about 3 years ago. That was like the last attempt, when everything, when I say everything, is like, I decided that day, on that day, all hell broke loose in my life. From calls. It was heavy because of my kids. I needed to. It was just all this financial pressure. It was all the pressure of entrepreneurship. When
Mm.
invoices don't get paid, all of those type of things. So now it's added pressure because I don't have a full time job. I'm an entrepreneur as an SME. If I don't get work, bills are not being paid. If I don't work, the Bible says, if a man don't work, he cannot eat. And how do I provide for my kids? And at that day, in that hour, all these calls came. All these call came. It was during COVID as well. Obviously, so there was no work, especially for myself. I'm doing training and development. There was no work. Um, all the rental, everything came in 1 hour. I had about 15 calls, and all of it was about money and money and money. And I just decided, you know what, this is it. And I actually went and I told this other friend of mine, I said, listen, after this, I actually went to go consume some alcohol, must be honest. And I told him, listen, goodbye. I'm saying bye. Then I'll walk to the pharmacy below where I stay, because I stay on top of a pharmacy. And I bought myself 100 tablets. And then once again, I don't know, I've got this nick of calling people, uh, and I think that is what saved me. And then I drank the 100 tablets, but this time, This time, oh, let you. This time, I was so at peace. This time, I just said, I just want to go. I was very happy to actually just end it all. I was so at peace when I just had to say bye. So yeah, but fortunately, I survived, and then I had to literally take stock of my life and say, listen, this is not worth it. I mean, I tried three times. I failed at it. I suck. I suck at taking my own life.
Mm.
It's a so for me,
It's a
it's like
bad
this
habit.
is not worth it. Yeah, it's not worth it. And I had to, for the past 3 years, I had to literally um, read up on mental health issues. I had to read up on how to combat that, how to not get to that point again. So for the past 3 years, I've been working hard on myself, finding myself, loving myself again, acknowledging myself, and just being my own best friend, so that I cannot go through that phases again. I must honestly say it's an ongoing process. Although I'm a survivor, it's been 14, not even 14 years, 14 years of my attempts, right? But it's been there for over 22 years, 22 years of me having suffered through that. And it's an ongoing, but now what I've learned in the last 3 years is just how to deal with it.
Mm.
When I hit that space of where I feel worthless, you understand, I just need to look at myself again and say, listen, there's a purpose for your life, right? You've got kids, that looks up to you. You've got people that look up to you. So I'm reaffirming myself. So now, instead of having to look to people, right, I actually found I need to speak to myself. I need to be my own best man, you know so like, for instance, and where this happened, say about a month ago, we've known of all men are committing suicide more than females.
Yes, yes.
So people are asking me, because men are suffering in silence. So people are asking me, what do you want to achieve? I'm like, if I can stop one person, only one person from committing suicide, I've done my job. If I can just encourage one person, just one, that's all I need. And in the past month, Olwethu, I must be honest with you, over almost 300 people have been reaching out to me via Facebook, via WhatsApp. And I started this movement to deal with men issues, right? But honestly, 80% of the people coming to me are females. And I make a disclaimer, I am not a psychologist. I do not know. I can just speak from my personal experience, share my personal testimony, and hope, how can I say, whatever I've gone through will actually help somebody else, in terms of saying that if I could do it, there's nothing special about me. I was created in God's image just like the next person. If I can make
Yes.
a difference in one person's life, right, and that is what I want to achieve with my movement. And we're going to continuously talk on it. We are busy with podcasts. We're going to continuously be we're going to address this heads on, so we are making plans on our next steps of what it is that we want to do. But I've also got a whole lot of friends that are psychologists, that doctors, and all of those things. So I'm trying to rope them in to see how can we help. How can you give back to the communities? Because if you're looking at it, let's go into the townships. Is there psychologists in the township? No.
No.
If a black man today talks about his feelings, he's weak. People say we are weak. That is basically what I want to, or what we are trying to achieve, through this movement that we want to start. So we just want to talk about, um, like, for instance, we want just, my thing is this. I even got the saying, you know what we're going to say is, come to the table with Carlito. That is me, Carlito.
Yes.
That is my school. But yeah, so come to the table, let's talk. That's all we want to do. We just want to talk, and hopefully we will have people that professionals that can join us as well, that will be able to give their point of view. But sometimes, if you're looking at it, healing, because sometimes it's very important to speak to professionals. But sometimes, if they've never experienced what the next person has gone through, they give you information from a book. This
Mm.
is what we think. You are diagnosed with depression. So this is the five
Let's go
steps of
5
how to
steps.
overcome depression.
Mm.
Whereas if I'm, as a survivor, can talk to another person that is going through the same thing, guess what? They'll be able to identify better with me. So
Yes.
that is just what we try to achieve. So let's just talk. Come to the table. So I'm in my own capacity on WhatsApp. I check on people. People send me voice notes about how they're going, what they're going through. They see my post, which I posted a month ago on Facebook. They see it, and then they just reach out to me. You know what? I feel the same way. And then I just encourage. I just speak life. I tell them that, listen, you are worth it, because that's all we want to hear. Nobody told me that I'm loved. Nobody told me that my life
Yes.
means something, that,
Yes.
that there's a plan. Although it's scripted, it's there in the Bible. There's a plan and a purpose for our lives. But sometimes, if you're looking at it, it is better when it comes from another person to say, listen, you know what? God actually has a plan for your life. You know what?
So
You are precious in His sight.
the greatest part is that you are able to rise from the dust, and you've picked up yourself, and you've made sure that you put a plan about your life, and you've said,
Yeah,
this is the end of me being suicidal. Let me speak
yeah.
up and talk about what's happening. But have you went back to church and said, here I am, God, back again. I'm gonna praise you still, no matter what. I'm not focusing on what people should have done, but I'm focusing on myself and what I can do for others.
Yeah, definitely. I do that. I do that in my devotions. I must be honest. I'm not as active in church anymore like I used to be, because of business, because of my travels and all of those type of things. But I acknowledge God in whatever I do, in everything I do. Because the gift that I have today, and the ability that I have, is because of Him. He's given it to me. So I'm using my platform when I'm in front of people. I even talk about my experience. So if you're looking at it, every classroom that I'm in, it's a time to testify. I testify
Yes.
about my life. I speak about my life. I speak about my hardships to young people, so that they can say, and this is what I always say, right? If I could do it, anybody can. So we
Yes.
never know who we come into contact with. One thing I've learned already is that, people think that you're in church, you have to be on stage to make a difference. you know the world is out there. That's our church. The church is not confined
Yes.
to bricks,
To
to bricks.
walls.
the, the
Yes.
the world is out there. So whenever I go, because I'm from Cape Town, I am I see myself as a funny guy, so I use comedy and all of those things. I speak about my family life. I speak about what I had to do to get where I am today. So how do I testify? I testify through my classrooms. I make it a point that I speak about my life. I speak about my hardships. I speak about my suicidal attempts in every single classroom that I am, because guess what? Who knows? The person that is sitting there might be suicidal. And then they see, oh, but this guy survived. Look at how happy he is, right? And that is what is the I can smile today because I found inner peace.
Yes. That's what's important. What's important is to find a sounded mind and to have inner peace.
Yeah.
Because once you do not have a sounded mind, that means all negative thoughts are gonna come climbing up, and then you're gonna start
Yes,
getting back to depression. Um,
definitely.
it's but there's something that we need to talk about, because remember, you mentioned that you have kids. Have you set them
Yeah.
down and said, daddy has tried this, make sure that you do not do it? For you, speak up when you feel like you are blocked mentally, you are blocked spiritually. Daddy is here. If you cannot speak to daddy, we can find you someone else that you can speak to, because kids, they learn from us, and they are like a
Yeah.
sponge, so they sponge everything. Have you sat down with yours and testified to them that this is my story as daddy, and yours might be different? Let's make sure that you don't
Yeah.
repeat my mistakes.
Yeah, my kids are fairly young still. So the eldest is 13. So, but I do speak to them about. So what I do is that I can't really, because I don't think they'll be able to comprehend yet. But what I'm doing is what was never done to me. So I
Mm,
always tell them, I affirm them, I love you. When they do well, I always praise them. You know,
That's
oh,
nice.
even if my youngest one, even if you just colored in properly, oh, I'm so
Mm.
proud of you. You are the best daughter. So I affirm them at all times. You understand? So because those things were never done, and that is where us as black parents we failed. If I can say, like, we failed because we don't tell our kids that much that we love them. We don't tell them. I tell them even if it's 10, 15 times a day, they need to know that their father loves them. The reason why I'm working is, and I'm working so hard, is to build a better future for them. So I always tell them, Daddy is in business. So I talk to them about my business, and you know that yes, I might not have money all the time because of that is how business goes. So I open up to them so that when they grow up, there's no secrets. So if they know, how can I say that? You know what? If they ask for something, I will just tell them. My daughter always asks me, "So, Daddy, have you been paid yet?" So I'm like, "Not yet, my love." She's like, "Oh, okay." So when I spoil them, they're like, "Oh, so you got paid?" I said, "Yes." So I make it known so they do understand. How can I say that? I can't give them what they want at this moment in time, but if I made a promise, I will deliver. So I keep them abreast with how business is, so that they do understand, so that they're not. That is why, if you're looking at it, we go to a shop nowadays, and then how can I say, when they want something, they'll take a small thing and they'll wait for me to say, no, it's fine, you can take whatever you want.
So
So I'm bringing that. I'm raising them, how can I say, knowing that, that yes, you will be spoiled, but sometimes, there is some hardships in business. Money's not
yes,
always there, but if it is
there.
there, you know what, you will be spoiled. So that is how I'm trying to combat that, up until they're at the age where they will understand basically, what is depression and all of those type of things.
So the root of depression, because it differentiates from different people. Even I myself, I've tried to commit suicide. I think I was 16. My mother was my mother had a busy schedule with her in-laws. So
Yeah.
for me, it was not because of her, but it was because of the
Mhm.
people that I stayed with. There were a lot of people at my house. So I got tired of being, there's a lot of people at my house and I'm always blamed for whatever they do wrong. It
Mm.
comes to me, I get beaten up. And then I started feeling down. I started looking down at myself. And then I started finding someone else to blame, which was my mother. But as I grew up, I understood better that I am to blame for my own actions. I am not
Yeah.
supposed to take my life, but I'm supposed to speak up. Would you say that in your case, with your mother not raising you and everything else, did you feel like you're suffocating, or was it just that you felt like you were not loved at all?
Yeah, it was obviously abandonment issues, and also trying to find closure. Trying to find out why did you guys split up? Why was I left? Why did I go this way and my brother went that way? So it was those open-endedness. There was no closure. So I was searching, and I would ask, confront, but I was never given a proper answer. So I was always
Mm.
left guessing. So I had to basically plug pieces together. And even now, Olwethu, it's like so difficult, when and also what happened was is that when people talk about their childhood and all of those type of things, I can't. I've got three childhood memories. Only three. One when I was three
Mm.
years old, a good one, me praying. One when I was 5 years old, a very bad one when I was 13 years old. You know, um, I hear now and then, but I can't. I don't know. My memory, it's like blocked. So I can't really
It's
talk about
blocked.
my childhood. Yeah,
Yes,
so
I
I
do
can only
understand.
speak about my sports, because that's the only thing that made me happy. Playing soccer. That was the only thing, and that was where I excelled. Because we come from a soccer family, so I only know my soccer side of it. So growing up, it was that. Not knowing where I fit in, not knowing my. Do you know that I actually don't even know my mother's family? I don't know who's my aunts. I don't know who's my uncles. I don't know who's my cousins. I don't know anybody. So it was all of that, trying to find closure. And I must honestly say, my church at that time really helped me, because they sent me back to Cape Town to really go get closure. but I couldn't find it, and so I just at the end, when I was like even when I was 40, I was still struggling with it. And then I told myself, I have to deal with it, because how am I going to be a good dad if I can't even
Yes.
deal with that? So I had to basically say, Lord, you know what? I don't want to find out no more, because guess what? This is keeping me a prisoner. And if I can't clear my mind, if I'll these thoughts will hold me prison, will hold me in prison, and guess what? I will never be able to live out the life that you have destined for me. I want to be the best dad ever, but how can I be the best dad ever if I still have hung up on mommy and daddy issues? You know, so I
Mm.
basically just had to make peace with it. I basically had to forgive my father, I had to forgive my mother, I had to forgive even myself, for beating up myself, with that. So, like I said, so I think what has made me the person I am today is, like I said, the biggest thing is inner peace. I found inner peace. Sometimes it will rock up because sometimes things trigger, but because of peace, I can just go back and I can just say, Usa, you know, I can just say, no, I've
Uh,
actually overcome this. Yeah.
yeah, thank you, Carl, for this. So can you please tell our viewers where they can reach you, if they need your advice or if they need to speak to you in any other platform, or they want to hear more about your story, so that we can wrap up and then finish.
Yeah, I think the best platform is to basically, I've like I said, I've opened up a private group on Facebook. It's called All Things Mental. All Things Mental. That's on Facebook. And for those people, or you can just inbox me even on Facebook. It's Call Ian Little on Facebook, and then just via WhatsApp. WhatsApp is 074 2241. That is my WhatsApp business, so I will respond back. It might take some time because I might be in training, but I normally do respond back. So that's where people can just touch base with me. And please note that even if you want to share and you share your story and you maybe want to put it out there, we will do it anonymously. We are not there, but yeah, then I will let you know, and maybe next time we online again, I will be able to announce when is our first table talk.
Yes.
We will broadcast it, and we're gonna go from city to city, because we've seen that people need to talk, and
Yes.
so what I will do is I will also be working through my church. I just need to get their permission, so I can't mention that yet. So I'll be working. So I feel that one needs to have a strong backing, and so then we'll take it from there. But people, feel free to WhatsApp me, inbox me. If you want to talk, I'm here to listen. That's all.
Can
I'm here to listen.
you repeat your number?
It's 074
Okay.
608 2241. Yeah. It is my WhatsApp business, so don't worry if you get a notification to say we'll get back to you soon. So we'll do that. Up until we have a dedicated line for all things mental, we'll just do it on that. So yeah, so we'll put all of those things on, and soon we will release our website. We'll release our podcast where people can listen in, and all of those type of things. So yeah, but thank you very much.
Thank you, Carl. Thank you for your story. It's been an interesting journey. It was nice talking to you. Goodbye, Carl.
Okay,
Thank you.
bye. Thank
Bye.
you.
That was Carl with his story, with his affirmation. We all have been through something. We all have been through something. His story is of interest that he tried to commit suicide so many times and he never actually got to commit suicide, which was the power of God and the grace of God. We get ukubona intoba izinto that we are going through, they stand in our lives and they give us a claustrophobia of life outside there, and then you start thinking that there's no life. Actually, there is life. There is life. But due to the things that are happening in our lives, we are so stuck. I know how it feels to be a survivor of depression. I've tried to kill myself so many times. I do not know how many attempts I've tried, whether 3 or 4 times, but depression is there. It is real. Mental illness, it is real. Although usiya camouflage, sifaki makeup, sitting, go to the best private schools, because I'm one of the people that went to the best private school in the Eastern Cape, in the East London area, and I was loved both by my grandmother and my great grandmother. And my mother loves me so much, and she still supports me, and I was raised by my stepfather. He has never done anything to me. He's my number one fan. Yes, guys, Stepfather Wam is my number one fan. He is always there for me. No matter how many universities I've been in, Utata Wam will always say, I am with you, I am standing with you. No matter what I go through, he is there. During my divorce, he was there. When I was in hospital with a stroke and a heart attack, he was there. He never left. He was there present. Epuma Mercedes Benz, and he comes and says, here I am, what do you need? My mother was there every each and day, sitting with me. Pious Bedley, Islam and Private. My sisters were there every day. But what matters is, how do you find God? What happens when God is there? God gives you a testimony. God gives you life after death, because what happens now does not mean there's no light. Whatever is happening in your life at this moment, ukhona ilanga liza kuvela noba livele nini na. Do not be depressed about the things that are going on in your life and think that it is over. The storm is not your priority. Priority yako is to speak a sounded mind in your mind, is to get to a quiet place and tell yourself, stand in front of a mirror, confess in front of your mirror and say, Thixo ndive, ndim lona. I am standing and I need your touch. I need you. I need your presence. Just that, you don't need to speak fancy words. I always say, sanukuvuma ukuthetha fancy, but what matters is just say, I need your touch. I need you to speak life into my life, God, and He will give you what you want. But let's stop it. Let's stop it, guys, feeling that we are lonely. There is someone there out there that you can speak to. There's someone out there that can give you an ear. But number one is God, because He is faithful. Once you bow down and you pray and you say, Thixo wam over isikhungo, andidingi nenye into ndidinga wena, uyakuva immediately. We need to rise from this mental illness. It is real and it can kill you, and it cannot only kill you. Depression and anxiety, it does not only it does not only deal with you, it deals with your kids, your mother, your father, and everyone else around you. I've also been there. I am giving out my own testimony. I've been there. I've asked myself so many questions. Well, does my own father not love me hard enough that, and again, because sister father, some suffer so much with paying expensive bills, sending no sister bam at school, yet I have a father that is working and sitting out there. But guess what? God gave me a father. I had to sit down with myself and said, okhona omnye umntana ohleli esitratweni ongenaye notata, wena unaye utata, wena you have a father. And fortunately for me, I have a number one father that is always there in my life. And I am so proud of my stepfather. I am one of the people that stand here and say, we are proud to have a stepfather. He is not cruel. He has not done anything wrong. And he's always stood by me. My parents stand by me in everything that I do. When I said to them, I'm going to be one of the Kid Ngesi radio broadcasters, they said, okay, go ahead. As much as they did not know what I was going to do here, but they said, go ahead. When I said I'm opening up a business, they said, go ahead. When I said I'm stopping being a nurse, they said, go ahead. Whatever I say, they said, go ahead, because they are pushing me and they are backing me with prayers. No, you are not alone in whatever you do. You are not alone. There is someone out there who's praying for you. There is someone out there that is standing with you. Whether they are standing with you in prayer, in silence, whether they're standing with you in prayer, usiva, whether they are with you financially, mentally, spiritually, but they are there to listen. Speak out. Mental illness is a serious problem. Mental illness is a serious depression, especially for divorcees. As a divorcee, find someone that you can talk to, because divorce is very painful. I am speaking from experience. Divorce is very painful, especially when you have toddlers or infants. It is very painful because you go through stages. Also, stages zoba uye court uyoxoxa nge-support, nge-maintenance. Those things, they come up in your brain. Everyone else uzokubona uncumile umhle, but when you sleep, everything comes back. But what matters is the power of prayer. What matters is the power of a sounded mind. You need to pray. You need to pray and ask God for strength, because those things can destroy you. Zingakugqiba ngaphakathi, but you need the power of God. You need the strength that comes with God. Uhlelo Olwethu kaSalayi kuyu testify. That was Carl's testimony. Neyam encanana njena testimony. Has been a journey betuna. It has been a journey from my divorce to now. I will tell a lifetime story. Now one day I will sit here ndivule lo Facebook nalo YouTube and stay here for a full hour talking about my own testimony. But for now, I saw some stage. Next week, Tuesday, we will have Bongani from Durban. He will also be testifying about his mental status and his sounded mind that led him to write a very nice book that came out recently. Looking forward to that. Nizanbona on Tuesday, 6 to 7. You testify Nipinin Bone back on Thursdays between 8 and 9 with Uloza Wamamfene on in morning drive. Nipinin Bone on Sunday between 9 and 10 o'clock on You Testify Again. Thank you. It's been a lovely day talking to you guys. It's been a lovely evening. Man can't go to get niyabona kumnyama naphandle lixesha labantu go to get iweske namhlanje ndingumahamba ngeenyawo namhlanje andinayo imoto, so I have to bounce and go. I love you guys. Remember, God is there. He is listening. He is always listening. What you need to do is just bow down and pray. What you need to do is find a person onothetha naye uzoku nika amandla in prayer and in strength just by listening. And ear can do a lot of things. And ear can do a lot of things. Remember that. Baba Betuna, I love you.